believes
So,
that Gentiles intrinsically hate Jews because Jews are special.
Okay, I think every time we talk, Rabbi, I enjoy it, I learn, and I also peel back the onion a little bit. You are so concerned about coming off as mean or bigoted to the non-Jews.
No, I'm trying to be fair.
You're willing to talk about Jews the same way that the haters talk about. It's the anti-Semites who say, you know, the world hates you because of what you did. You know, you got kicked out of every country in the world because of how you acted. You're like repeating the talking points of the haters. It's not.
I'm asking if there's any validity to it. Okay, but to assume any sort of backlash we never deserved is to truly believe that we're disliked for no reason, essentially because we're special.
Let me put it to you this way. What is one specific example of anti-Semitism
That's what I thought you were saying.
that you can point to and say that one was deserved because of this thing that the Jews did? Let's hear an example that you have.
Communism.
Okay.
Leftism,
so you're saying, so
queer
first
theory,
of all,
feminism, and on and on. Why are Jews disliked in America today? I mean, it's not because
Rabbi, you said queer theory and feminism, right? You said queer theory and feminism? Okay, but here's the thing. The left is like more, the far left, the communists, the Marxists, the queer theory, they're deeply anti-Semitic spaces. So how is it that anti-Semitism is because we propagated these ideologies when the proponents of those very ideologies also hate us?
Because we started this ideology and it became a Frankenstein to us. When Stalin turned his back on the Jewish people because he felt that they were trying to poison him, this happens constantly. The idea that the left, most Jews, 80% of Jews vote left. Hold on, 80% of Jews vote left, even though the left is less pro-Israel than the right. Okay, so only because we don't vote what's good for us, but like doesn't mean that there isn't a reason to dislike Jewish people. For sure, there's this whole conversation is
that doesn't make sense because if propagating left-wing ideologies was the reason for anti-Semitism, I mean that started in like
I didn't say that.
Listen, the real reason
for 1800s. What about the previous 3,000 years of anti-Semitism?
Unaliving JC, the mythos of Christianity is all.
I don't know. Okay, I just feel like if I close my eyes and it's like, hold on. The Jews were communists. That's why the pogroms. It's like,
hold on. There's a distinction in disliking Jewish people because of religious reasons than for secular reasons. Okay, let's make a distinction between synagogue and state here. The reason
that's like saying I'm not Islamophobic. I just don't like Muslims. I have no problem with Islam though.
Oh, because
the people and the religion are inseparable.
That's
one is always associated with the other.
Because the religion doesn't endorse the secular aspect of the Jewish community. Okay, that's you in some way misappropriating my religion to continue existing in the religious world, not believing in God. So just this show alone is the reason for anti-Semitism. Of course, you feel you've said nothing wrong, that you've spoken what you've considered is the truth, but you basically said that you're different than any other human in the world, that your group is different, and that your group is disliked for no reason. However, why isn't there a name for Christian dislike? When Christians are disliked more, it's more difficult to be a Christian on this planet than it is to be Jewish. But
it depends where you live.
The only reason there isn't a Christian equivalent to anti-Semitism is because the left doesn't benefit of weaponizing any community that's not marginalized and small.
Then how do you explain Islamophobia? There's like 2 billion Muslims.
CARE, or the Southern Poverty Law Center, only pushes this Islamic agenda in America because they're marginalized in America, not in the Middle East. So yes, it's the same argument that the left uses people just like they used women, just like when they used workers in the beginning of the century to push
the left
their
talks
idea.
about, and rightfully so, the left talks about the patriarchy and disadvantages to women in America, but women are, half the population approximately. So I don't know if you're making a lot of sense here. I mean, the left can basically use anything to their benefit. They don't have a rule that says.
But they only use people who feel like victims. They make them feel like you just said, the patriarchy. You're the victim. You're being misused, and you need us to fight in your behalf. And this is why they overly use the word anti-Semitism like it's going out of style. Christians in Nigeria.
I don't know. I mean, I saw a White House press briefing a couple weeks ago, and the reporter asked the press secretary directly, "What's going on with anti-Semitism? What are you going to do?" And it was as if her brain glitched because she immediately started talking about Islamophobia and didn't say the word anti-Semitism. So, if anything, anytime they talk about anti-Semitism in America, it has to be a go-along or a tag-along issue with Islamophobia, and it never really gets any real standalone attention, even though statistically, Jews are the most targeted group for hate crimes in the entire country.
I was comparing Jewish dislike with Christian dislike, being that Christians are being burned alive in Nigeria and no one is talking about it and no one is crying.
I talk about it all the time. I talk about what happened to the Yazidis. I talk about what happened to the Maronites.
Yeah, but don't personalize it. I'm saying overall, if anti-Christian dislike is more common than anti-Jewish dislike, why is it we don't have a word?
I think the reason why, Rabbi, is because when you look at what happens to the Yazidis, the Nigerian Christians, the Maronites who have been ethnically cleansed from Lebanon, the list goes on and on and on. The reason that doesn't get talked about is because the Jews aren't the ones doing it. If the Jews were doing that to those people, they would be talking about it all the time. More people have been unalived in Nigeria.
What you
Guess
just
what?
did there is
No,
make
think about it,
yourself
Courtney.
a
There have
bigger
been
victim.
Courtney, answer me this. Why have there been 500,000 people unalived in Syria, all Arab Muslims, but when 20,000 Arab Muslims get unalived in Gaza, the whole world stops, but no one flinched when 500,000 got unalived in Syria? It's the Jewish factor. That's why.
Okay.
The
It's
J
a Zionist factor, first of all. Make a distinction between. Well, that's
okay.
exactly what you're just saying. Jews nowadays.
I know. It's just anti-Zionist. That's why they go to synagogues to do their protests.
I let you talk. Okay. The reason Jews are on the front page today